Are you ready to unlock your full potential? Motivational speaker, the comeback coach, and goal crusher Joe Rivera brings you inspiring leaders, incredible stories, and valuable lessons on how you can change, grow, and reforge your life. Now, here's your host, Joe Rivera.
What's up? What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Reforge Your Life Show. I'm your host, Joe Rivera, and here at the Reforge Your Life Show, we like to show you that possibles, comebacks are more than... Yeah, let's do that.
I just love you. I'm already laughing.
Yeah, that's the first time I fucked that one up right there. Let's go.
And 3, 2.
What's up? What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Reforge Your Life Show. I'm your host, Joe Rivera, and here at the Reforge Your Life Show, we like to show you that comebacks are more than possible. And today, I'm super excited about my guest. She's a friend of mine. She's a owner of Pi CPA. She's an author, a speaker. Nisha Pi, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for coming through, man.
Okay, Joe, you're my favorite New Yorker, first of all, and I just love you. So I'm honored to be on your show.
And I love you back, girl. Thank you very, very much. That means a lot because usually people say they don't like people from New York, so I'm on it. We're not that bad, y'all. So, Nisha, I've heard your story. I love it. And I mean, look, obviously I can't tell your story the way you can, right? Nobody can. So I'd love for you to share with the audience your story so they know a little bit more about Nisha Pi.
Gosh, which one, Joe? My most recent one or the one that I always share with how I created my firm to begin with?
I want you to share what comes to your heart.
Okay. All right. One of you and I connect here so much on this topic of overcoming. And, I like to think of myself as an overcomer, as someone who has made things possible in my own life, from tragedy or from like major obstacles. And so I'd love to just share with your audience, first of all, how I became an entrepreneur, which was an accidental thing. I don't know that anyone ever goes into it necessarily intentionally, but the way I even start my keynote speech is I talk about my Jerry Maguire moment. And I'll be 14 years, my firm will be 14 years on March 1st. And 14 years ago, I walked out on my boss, who was misogynistic and I say this because I went into his office for a raise to also have more hours. And I was a single mom and I was working part-time and I had been 5 years at the firm. And I walked into his office one day and I said, hey, I've been here 5 years. I'd like more hours and I'd also like a raise. And he looked at me and basically what seemed like an eternity, he finally answered and he said, no. And then he followed that with, because you have a mom gap in your resume. Now, I had never heard that term before, but a mom gap, if people don't know what that is, it's time that a woman takes off of her career to raise her children. And so he was using against me this thing from years before, right? I had taken time off years before I ever joined his firm. And so in the heat of the moment, like something took over me and I stood up and yelled, I quit.
Wow.
And so, it was almost like this automatic courage that I had in that moment. And I walked out the door and on the way out, I called my one big client, like Jerry Maguire. And I said, hey, here's what happened. And they're like, wow, okay, well, we're going with you. And I'm like, I don't know where I'm going. And so I walked out the door and it came to me in that moment, I'm going to start my own firm. I'm going to do this because I know I can do this better. And here I am 14 years later.
Wow. I mean, so first off, I mean, the courage factor, where did Where did that come from in that moment?
Well, I dissected this because I actually talk about this a lot. And I think that it was really on autopilot that day. I feel like a lot of times our heart can overtake the logic side of our brain. And in that moment, my heart was like, oh no, 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 no. You're not going to let anyone treat you like this.
Yeah.
And it was just this sudden thing that I knew that I'd be okay. I didn't know how I was going to be okay, but I knew that anything was better than working for this man that didn't value me or want to support me, and also was just an insult to moms, parents, anyone.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course. I mean, and that's definitely an insult, a mom gap. I've never heard of that term either as you said it. You learn something new every day, I guess, right? But so what and I want to bring something up to the audience that you mentioned, and I think is so important. She mentioned that she didn't know how she was going to do it, but she still went forward to do it. And every single successful entrepreneur that I know, right? Because I know it's how I proceed when I do business and make a lot of the business decisions I make. You kind of got to remove the how out of the equation
That's
and
right.
just have faith and trust the process.
Right.
Um, what was that like going into the entrepreneurship for the first time? Because I know, when I first became an entrepreneur, removing the how was something I had to practice and learn how important it was. So to what was that like having to remove that how and be able to remove the fear that comes with it, the worry, the doubt? What was that came along with that?
Yeah, and I don't think that we fully remove it. I
Right,
think
right.
we kind of shove it to the back of our minds. And I'm a type A black and white person. Hello, I do debits and credits. So I'm totally type A, like gotta have a plan, gotta have a spreadsheet on what I'm gonna do. Here's step 1, 2, 3, 4. And I didn't have that, right? So it was really difficult. But I woke up every day knowing this was my thing. This was my dream. I was going to line my pockets, not someone else's. And so I just figured it out along the way. I would reach out to people that were successful in entrepreneurship and interview them, find out what I needed to do. Okay, got to get a website, check, got to get business cards, check. All of that, right? And it's like I just started reaching out to people to help me figure out what to do.
Yeah.
Right. I call them champions, right? I reached out to people who I considered my champions who were doing what I wanted to do. And I said, help me figure out like what I should be doing as I was going along.
Man, for the listeners out there, I want you to realize how powerful it is, something that she just mentioned, because there's a few things that she removed from the equation that a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with, right? Number one, ego. She removed her ego when she started asking people that are ahead of her to be able, how did you do this? How did you go through this so that I could learn how you did it and also learn from your struggles, right? And then also, there wasn't a fear of asking for help.
No, and I'm super hyper independent. Let's not get that wrong. As a single woman and single most of my life and a single mom, I am super hyper independent. So it was hard for me to ask for help, right? But I knew that if I didn't, we can't do this life alone. We can't do anything alone. We're not meant to. And I knew that above my hyper independence.
Yeah. So something that you've been your whole life, independent and figuring things out on your own, able to go and say, you know what, let me remove that ego. Again, that ego, because the ego is something that stops a lot of entrepreneurs from being able to achieve their fullest potential. And saying, you know what, I don't have to do this on my own. I can't ask for help, because that's so important, because there's a lot of, I mean, if you look at the biggest conglomerate companies out there, the biggest tycoons that we know, Elon Musk, Steve Jobs, all the big names, the big conglomerate companies, they did not do it by themselves. They had a supporting cast that helped them be able to unlock their fullest potential and bring their company to the heights it's at now. So for all you entrepreneurs out there, you don't have to do this shit by yourself. You could ask for help. And when you do ask for help, it helps take you to the next level.
Okay.
So Nisha, I'm curious though, through this journey of entrepreneurship, you built up this successful CPA company. There's been some challenges that you've gone through. Do you mind sharing about those challenges?
Yeah, it's interesting. 5 years into owning my firm, I had a nervous breakdown. And in that nervous breakdown, in that time frame, I was lost. I had my 16-year-old son decide he wanted to leave me and go live with his father, and I had contributed to that reasoning. He blocked me out of his life for a year and a half. I was actually in the middle of a lawsuit with somebody that I thought was my friend, and found out that she was committing fraud. And I was in the middle of a breakup with a man that I thought I was going to marry, because he decided he didn't want to be a part of my big life that I wanted, and he was cheating on me. So I had gone through this period right before COVID, where I just was like lost, right? For the first time since walking out of my Jerry Maguire moment. And it was when I had found my faith. It's when I had found God truly. And it's when I decided that I wasn't going to let a human or humans stop me from my destiny or my purpose. And so I dug deep. I dug deep to pick myself up and keep moving ahead. And then, of course, COVID happened. So, all of us got leveled on a playing field, right? We all got leveled. And I know it's weird to say this, but COVID kind of saved my life. Ironically, like when we all got leveled onto this playing field, I decided to use that for healing. And I also decided to use that as to how can I take my business and help other business owners? I was in the perfect setup as an accounting firm. Like, people were lost, right? With the PPP and all that stuff. And so I decided to put free information out there and educate people and just really serve during that time. And that was healing for me. So that was like, it was like 2020, I'm making a comeback, and my firm actually doubled in revenue between 2020 and 2022. So I knew I was on the right path. And then fast forward, 2024, as we thought that, hey, or at least I thought we were getting out of the slump of 2020, I probably hit the worst year of my life. The best and the worst. It's really interesting, Joe, how we can hold both positive and negative together, right?
Yeah.
And I was able to meet my lifelong dream of living in a city that I love, Paris, for 3 months. So spring 2024, I live my dream out, and I come back from this wonderful sabbatical with all these ideas of what I'm going to do in my life, in my business, in my speaking career. And a week when I landed stateside, I got the news that my baby sister died suddenly of a heart attack at 45. And she was the caretaker of my parents. So I spent the summer in Raleigh, which is about 3 hours away, taking care of my parents, helping them get through this awful family tragedy. And the last week I was in Raleigh, I got the news, Joe, that I had breast cancer.
Wow.
I had gotten early stage breast cancer. And I thought, come on, God, come on, give me a break here. And so I got through that. I'm cancer free. I rang the bell on December 23rd.
Yes.
Yeah, December 23rd. I caught it early through a mammogram, and you don't want to share that with your female audience members to make sure that they get their mammograms, that they are screening, because it does save lives. It saved mine. But I'm just now coming out of all that. And Joe, the one thing that has kept me going, aside from my faith, which is really important as you're going through something like that, is the fact that I have this big vision for my life, this big vision for myself. And it's bigger than those obstacles.
Yes.
It's bigger.
It sure is. You're bigger than your obstacles too. And man, congratulations, by the way. I know I've told you before, but I want to tell you here on the show, congratulations. I'm so proud of you. And
You.
I'm so thankful that you're still here with us, and that, it wasn't worse than what it was. And man, you are a walking miracle. Every day you will wake up, and God bless you for that.
Thank you.
Uh, uh, so man, there's so much to unpack there.
Oh, I kind of gave you like this, the highlights of all the obstacles that I've had since I started my business. But it goes back to, Joe, having the support around you. Like, I have this great team, and this great team that kept me going, through all of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, team is vital. And, having that supporting cast around you to be able to get through those difficult times when times do get rough is so important, whether it's, a team at home that you have, your family, whether it's team that you have with your business. For all the listeners out there, man, having a team is crucial in your success and your growth. So, Nisha, you went through this nervous breakdown. You lost your baby sister, which my deepest condolences. I know what loss feels like, and it's never easy. And you had cancer. You mentioned, how your faith drove you through these obstacles. But you also mentioned how you were able to find God and truly find God. What was it like before you feel that you found that higher source?
Ooh, that's a good question, Joe. I had a lot of anger in my life. I had a lot of anger, and I know you and I have talked about this offline. I had a lot of anger, questions. I would let even smaller obstacles derail me completely. And little things bothered me. And because I didn't have that faith, and I was focused on the wrong things in life.
Yeah.
And now it's like, wait a second, I'm not living for my glory, and I'm not living for the thing, I'm not living for the accounting firm. I'm not living for the speaking gigs. I'm living for a higher purpose.
Right.
And the glory of God. And it's allowed me to have more love, to be love. It's allowed my heart to heal. And it's allowed me to serve in a way that I've never been able to serve.
Yeah. That is good, huh?
God is so good, my friend.
Amazing.
Don't get me wrong. I've been angry with him.
Yeah.
Like,
tell us more about that.
Gosh, and because we could look all around us and like, God, like, why don't you take why aren't the evil people dying? Why are the good people, like my baby sister, dying? Why do we have all this tragedy and war and, natural disasters and people that are dying that shouldn't be dying, right? And so I feel like I'm at a point in my life where I have a personal relationship with him so that I can have these conversations, and I could be angry. I could say whatever I need to say, and he's going to hear me and listen. And, the anger I felt before knowing him was more of a worldly anger, where I was angry with everybody.
Yeah.
If you looked at me the wrong way, I was angry.
You would take the Vaseline out, huh?
Exactly. I approached the world in a defensive manner.
Right.
I took offense to everything, right? And I don't do that now. I don't have anger worldly, although sometimes I do get a little bit of road rage. But I couldn't drive in New York. But the anger I have now is more of a, like, I could be angry with God and he can help me through it.
Right. It's more like, the anger doesn't create this catabolic energy and and it doesn't go into disarray. It's in one direction, and then he helps you bring it back to peace.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a beautiful thing. Because man, having that relationship is so important than just, foxhole prayers and, just
Thoughts and prayers.
thought, yeah, when you just, it's a relationship that's intentional, that's created when it works like that. So when let's go back to, like, the breakdown and, the cancer and the nervous, and then your sister's death, that faith wanders in those moments, right? It's kind of like it wavers a little bit. Um, what are some of the beliefs that you had to crack through, those limited beliefs that you had to crack through in order to get to where you are today? That you had to overcome, well, you're still overcoming, because those limited beliefs always come up, right?
Yeah, gosh, that's a great question. I keep going back to, I think it's Romans 8:28. Well, gosh, tell me if that's right. Is that the all things work together for the good?
I think that is Romans 28.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm still a newbie.
Yeah.
Okay. But it's the scripture that says all things work according to his purpose, and it's the good. He takes the good and the bad
Yes.
to work together for the good. And in those moments where I'm like, why me? And why did it happen to my sister? And why am I getting cancer? And, why did I have a nervous breakdown? And why did my son leave me? And, why am I in this lawsuit? And all the, we're always like, why? Why me? And we are forged in the fire, as you know, right? We're forged in the fire. And I'm like, oh, okay, you're forging me. It doesn't feel good, and it kind of sucks. It really sucks. But I feel like I can take all those things and I can use it to serve people better. And I'm like, is that what I'm supposed to be doing with it? Okay, I get it. And so, yeah, right? So instead of like, woe is me, this happened to me, like victim mentality, I'm like, wait a second, these things happen to me. I got through them. I'm on the other side, or working through the other side. How can I take those things, and what do you want me to do with it? What am I supposed to be doing with it? Oh, okay, I'm supposed to be using it to serve people better.
Yeah. Using the pain for purpose.
Right. So it could be in my vocation as a CPA. It could be when I'm sharing my speech, right? When we're doing our speeches, or helping my neighbor, right? It could be like, how can we use our pain for purpose? Because I think there's healing in that too.
Absolutely.
Right.
That's where the healing really is.
Yeah.
Is when you're using that pain and you're giving it back and being of service, and walking and living in your purpose. I mean, this it doesn't get more magical than that, you know? It doesn't get more healing than that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I think that's what's gotten me through is I'm using it to purpose.
yeah. What man, that's so dope. I love that, man. Cause I listen, cause I'm a big believer in, when you go through challenges, you're supposed to share those challenges and give it back to the people who are going through those same types of challenges.
Yes.
Because the story that you have doesn't belong to you. God didn't put that story inside of you to keep it inside of you. Because if you keep it inside, you're just being selfish, right?
Right.
That story inside of you is supposed to go out and create impact with it. And in whatever way it is, you and I do it through speaking, but someone else could do it through their business, through, there's so many different ways, but giving it back, that's where the gift is. That's where it's all about.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So obviously faith is a strong core value of yours. What are some other core values that you lean into to get through difficult times? Because I'm sure that difficult times are going to continue coming up, just like they do for everyone else, right? So what are some core values that you really dive into to help you kind of get through those times?
Great question. A business coach described me. He's like, after I've gotten to know you and kind of scrape your social media, he's like, one word I would use to describe you is determined. And I grew up first gen Indian in East Tennessee, small town, population 12,000 in 1970s. And I remember when I was that little girl and I said, I don't know what it is, but I have this thing inside of me that I want this big life. I don't even know what that meant, right? I don't even know what that meant, but I was like, I want this big life. I want to do all the things that this beautiful earth has afforded me, right? I want to chase my dreams. I want to travel. I want to do something cool. And so I've always been determined to do those things. And resilience. I would say that I'm actually studying this right now. There's a part of our brain. It's called the AMCC, the anterior mid-cingulate cortex, AMCC. And it is a part of our brain that we can actually strengthen no matter where we are in life or our age. And it's related to our willpower, our will to live, and our resilience. And so it talks about the way to strengthen it is doing the hard things, doing the scary things, and getting out of our comfort zone. And so I make it a point to constantly get out of my comfort zone, to build that muscle so that the resilience is there.
Yeah, I love that. Getting comfortable with being uncomfortable to create more resilience.
Yeah.
Man. And determination, man, is so important. But something else that was really powerful that you said that I want the audience to grab onto is the power of her vision and how vital that is towards moving forward, right? She has the vision and she's clear on what it is she wants. Because everybody could say, oh, I got this vision. I want to, take over the world. But guess what? If you don't have, if you're not clear on how you're going to take over the world, you're never going to take it over, even though you're probably not going to take over the whole world anyway. But I'm just saying, it's just, if you have this vision, you got to have clarity on what it is you want, how you're going to get there. And how important was that clarity for you in moving forward through the dark times and getting to where you are today?
Oh man, huge. I actually have this vision board in front of me in my office that I stare at. And I always go back to that as a visualization tool of like, here's what I want out of life. And I haven't gotten there yet, or I haven't done those things yet. And I deserve to do those things. I deserve to have what it is in life that I want. And as I'm going through something, I focus on that. And I'm like, okay, we're detoured a little bit here. All right, we got to take a little bit of a pause. That's all right. We got to get through, surgery. We got to get through radiation, whatever it is we got to get through. And so I keep my focus on that while I'm going through the thing, because the thing can bring us down.
Yeah.
The thing can make us go into a downward spiral of depression. And if you focus on the thing and not on the vision, you will be derailed. You will be derailed, and you'll have a hard time finding yourself back.
Yeah, that's so true, man. And she another jewel she just dropped, man, is how focusing on a certain thing, because when you put your mind on where you want to go rather than your circumstances and conditions, the energy just pulls you towards where you want to go because you're focused on that. But if you're focused on the thing, that circumstance and condition, you're going to stay stuck in your circumstances and conditions, and you're not going to be able to pull yourself out. Vital towards growth, guys.
Well, and I do have to share this just because it's funny. It's funny now because I'm alive and I don't have broken bones and I'm sitting in front of you. But a week before I rang the bell for radiation, this is in December, so it's like I'm ending the year with radiation and the cancer treatment. A week before my last day, I'm walking across the hospital courtyard into the hospital for my treatment. And I get hit by, and I'll say this again, a FedEx truck.
Wow.
I get hit by a FedEx truck that was rounding the corner, clipped the side of my body as I'm walking into radiation. Okay.
Wow.
And I'm laughing because it's funny now because, everyone always says, like, how do you feel today? And you're like, oh, I feel like I get hit by a truck. I'm like, oh, that really happened to me. And all I could think about in that moment wasn't even that I had bruises all down my body. It was like, you are not going to keep me away from radiation, because if you do, I got to come back on Christmas Eve, and I am not coming back on Christmas Eve. And then I was thinking about, how can I sue FedEx and make some money off of this? And I go in and I do the radiation and I come out and take care of all the, the police and all that stuff that had come to campus. And I thought, no way, man, no way. This is not how it's going to end for me. It is not going to end for me with a FedEx truck hitting me.
Right.
And so I was like, I am going to get to ring the bell. And so that was a test for me of my determination, getting hit by a FedEx truck, walking into radiation. So, I laugh at it now, but it was almost like a test, right, Joe? Like, we get tested all the time.
Absolutely.
Even something like that is a test of how determined are you? How resilient are you?
Yeah. And man, you showed resilience over and over and over again, and determination over and over again. Congratulations on that.
Thank you. Thank you. Joe, I tell people, like, you can't end on a low. You can't end. We didn't get this far to get this far. That's what I tell people all the time. Like,
Yeah.
You didn't get this far to get this far. This is not how it ends.
You have a choice on how it ends, guys. You choose what your legacy is going to be like when it's your time to go and move on to that next chapter, to the eternal life. You're going to be asked the question, if you lived to your fullest, if you achieved your greatness, if you created the legacy that you chose, that you've always wanted to create, because it comes from the choices that you make.
And we don't have time to waste, right? I mean, we don't have time to waste. I saw my poor, sweet, beautiful sister not get to live her dreams out fully. She was just starting. And I thought to myself, I'm not going to let another day go wasted.
That's right.
Whatever that day is, it could be a mundane Monday after the Super Bowl, like today, right? And it could be like, no, I'm going to make today amazing. Whatever it is I'm doing, even if it's just like mundane tasks at my computer or, going to the gym, whatever it is.
Yeah.
If we are alive and we're healthy, Joe, every day we get that choice.
That's right. Amen to that. The power of choice is a beautiful thing. You brought it up, so I got to say, go Birds. We won the Super Bowl. Go Eagles, go. So Nisha, if you could tell everybody, what you have going on now and where they could find you, that'd be great.
Thank you. Yeah, I just actually I have an award-winning book. It's called Overcoming Ordinary Obstacles. It came out at the end of 2019, and I had my big launch party in January 2020 with all these dreams of a book tour, which never happened. So my publisher came up with a great idea. She said, why don't you relaunch your book and your new branding with an epilogue titled 5 Years Later? So I did just that. And I have a book relaunch March 5th here in Charlotte, but my book is available on Amazon. And I hang out on Instagram and LinkedIn at Nisha Pai, Neshapai. And you can find me there.
Awesome. All that's going to be in the show notes for the listeners. Nisha, few questions that I ask all my guests. Number one is, what does the word purpose mean to you?
Ooh, gosh, that's good. I believe that we are all put on this earth with a purpose, and it's our job. It's our lifelong job to find out what that is. And it is something that contributes to the goodness of the world. How can we leave this place better than we found it in whatever it is that we're supposed to be doing?
I love that. How can we leave this place better than we found it? And when you hear the word reforge, what comes to mind? What does that mean to you?
Gosh, well, I know I used the word forged earlier. Reforged to me means that we always can almost reinvent ourselves. We can always get stronger. We can always be more resilient. We can always be better and do better. So to me, it's like a reinvention almost.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can always reinvent.
We sure can. And we could reinvent into the life that we're supposed to be living, the life that we're meant to live. You're never defined by your past, man. Your past doesn't define you. It just helps catapult you into your future.
Amen to that. Yeah.
What makes Nisha's spirit come alive?
Oh gosh, so many things. Doing the things I love, which is I love to travel back to Paris, which I'm getting ready to go back to for the spring. And being around just good energy, whether it be people or events or eating good food. Like, I love to experience life. And anything that I'm doing that's experiencing what we've been gifted on this earth just gives me so much joy, right? It could be going on a hike in the beautiful mountains or hanging out on the beach or eating good food. I mean, so many things.
Yeah. What's your favorite food?
I love all food.
Me too. I'm a foodie.
I am a foodie. I do. I love all food, and that's like such a downfall in my life. Like, you can't name a cuisine I don't like. Like, I love them all.
Yeah, you and me both. I could pick something out of each one too. So Nisha, if somebody out there, because there's definitely somebody out there who's struggling, right? and they're looking to reforge their life, what's one tip you would give them to reforge?
Wow. Whew. I would tell them to look at themselves in the mirror and imagine that little girl or little boy that they once were when the world was innocent, and reconnect with that little boy or little girl, because that's when, before the world started coming in at you, that you could dream big and that you could think about what you wanted your life to be, and to reconnect with that person, because that will give you the answers. And I feel like the motivation to pick yourself up
Yeah.
and move ahead, one foot in front of the other. That's all you need to do, one foot in front of the other. Because this is what I tell people. You didn't get this far to just get this far,
That's right.
right? There's so much more ahead for you.
So much more to live for. So much more ahead. Go and get it, y'all. Go and get it. Nisha, thank you so much for coming through. This has been absolutely awesome. You're the best. I really appreciate your energy, and I appreciate you just being here, because God saved you for a reason, and you're living through that reason right now. So
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the platform, for listening to me and just having this conversation. I'm truly honored.
Absolutely. Thank you. And for all the viewers, listeners, thank y'all for coming through. Thank you for listening, checking it out on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, whatever your choice is. And I just got that one favor that I ask every episode, man. Just subscribe, follow, like, and most importantly, share the episode, because there's somebody out there right now who's not listening, who's not watching, who's probably struggling. And they don't know how to reforge their life because they don't have the tools. They don't even know where to begin. And checking out an episode like this or any of the other episodes could help them reforge their life. So again, subscribe, like, follow, and share. Everyone stay productive, stay profitable, and stay blessed.
You've been listening to Reforge Your Life with your host, Joe Rivera. Make sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. To learn more about Joe Rivera and how he can help you or your organization reforge your life and regain your place at the top, head on over to withjoerivera.com and follow Joe on all social platforms. The Reforge Your Life podcast was produced by Thrive Loud Productions. Thanks for listening.